You have no idea what just happened. One moment, everything was warm, soft, dark, and comfortable. And the next, you were being squeezed from all sides, and suddenly, everything got a lot colder, harder, and much less comfortable. You've just been born. But you can't open your eyes yet, so you don't know where you are, or even what you are. Now something's in your mouth. Oh, Mom's feeding you. Warm milk. Perfect. Just what you wanted. About 10 days have passed, and at last you can try opening your eyes for the first time. Everything's still a bit fuzzy, but you try to make out your surroundings. You're in a den under the roots of a tree. It looks like Mom tried to make it as comfortable as possible by adding some extra branches, some dried grass, a few feathers, and some deer hair. It's not exactly the seat of luxury, and a warm, soft bed and central heating would have been better, but what you have here is better than nothing. Mom's not here now, but your sibling is. Yeah, you came in a litter of 2 cubs, you and your sister. Now you take a good look at her. She looks like a small cat with fluffy gray-brown fur, short tail, black tufts already showing on top of the ears. Then it dawned on you. You must be lynxes. Well, it gets even better. More specifically, you're Eurasian lynxes, the biggest of the 4 species of lynx, so once you grow up, you'll be one of the top predators in the area. But that's a long way away. For now, you're hungry, and lucky enough, Mom's just getting back. More milk. Push your sister out of the way and make sure you get there first. You don't get any extra points for being polite. About 6 weeks have passed. When you were born, you weighed just 10 ounces, but you're growing fast. Mom is already starting to bring you some solid food now, but you'll still rely on her milk for a few more months before you're fully weaned. You can now also start to leave the den and explore. It's springtime, and the coldest months were already over before you were born, so you can take a look at the forest where you live. But you don't want to go far when Mom's not with you because there are plenty of animals out there that will happily make a meal out of you, especially the ones that haven't eaten much all winter. You still look like a cute and fluffy lynx kitten, so you can forget about scaring anyone off if they decide you look like a tasty snack. Now 2 months have passed, and Mom's decided it's time to come out of the den and leave it behind for good. You look more like an adult lynx now with adult patterning on your coat, but you're far from fully grown. And you still have a lot to learn about lynxing. Your main job at the moment is to follow Mom around and watch her hunt. As you grow older, you and your sister will start to help her too. But for now, it's more of a game. If you both survive that long. Most of the time you spend your days hiding out and sleeping. That's because it's easier to hunt at twilight or during the night. You have both excellent hearing and eyesight, which gives you a big advantage over the animals you want to hunt. Well, pretty much anything that moves. Mom catches foxes, hares, squirrels, mice, and birds. Even deer are not too big for Mom, and once she catches one of those, you can eat well for days. The only problem is you're not the only ones who enjoy snacking on deer, and sometimes you have to give up your kill to bigger animals. Some animals like wolves will actively hunt an adult lynx when they can, so if you meet any, you need to get up into the trees as quickly as possible if you plan to keep living. Oh well, better her than you. You'll miss her a bit, but now there'll be more food and attention for you. Every cloud, eh? You're getting bigger and you're also getting better at hunting now, so instead of just watching and playing at hunting, you can take part for real. You've been fully weaned since you were about 5 or 6 months old, and you can now work together with Mom as an effective hunting team. This is giving you more important experience because soon enough, you're going to have to strike out on your own. You've still got some way to go though. You've reached 10 months old, so it's time to leave Mom and head out into the world by yourself. Actually, that's not quite true. Lynxes each have their own territory where they live and hunt, and usually, lynxes don't allow others to stray into their territory. But for your first year, Mom will allow you to remain on her patch until you fully master all the lessons she's taught you. That way, if you ever need to share her kill because you haven't managed to catch anything, or if you need to ask her to lend you some money, she'll still be there for you. But only for 1 year because after that, you really will be on your own. This is probably not the best time of year for you to have to start fending for yourself because it's now the middle of winter and food is scarce. But you learned well from your mom and you're doing okay at catching prey for yourself. So, you set about working through the menu items Mom introduced you to. Rabbit? Easy. Tasty too. Fox? A bit more chasing involved, but you got him in the end. Bird? With the reflexes and agility of a lynx, this is easy work. Next, you decide to try a deer. You stalk up quietly, just the way Mom showed you. The deer doesn't even know you're there. Closer, closer, closer. Now pounce! Okay, that one was a bit too big. Maybe try a smaller one next time, just until you get the hang of it. When you can't catch your own food, you'll also eat carrion if you find it. And in the winter, it stays fresh, so it doesn't even taste that bad. You're well adapted to winter living. Towards the end of summer, you begin to grow a thicker winter coat, which helps to keep you warm. You also have padded feet that spread out when you place them on the ground. This helps you walk on snow without sinking in, and it also allows you to stalk your prey without making any noise. You still don't want to walk in deep snow though, because your special snowshoe feet can't work miracles. Springtime again, and the snow's melting. You shed your winter coat and instead grow a shorter coat for the summer. Food is more abundant now, so it looks like you've made it through your first winter. Good job. Now you've made it through your first year. There's more chance of you staying alive, at least a little bit longer. But by the end of the summer, it's time for you to leave her behind and find your own territory. After a few days of wandering, you find an area that seems good.
Oh no, looks like someone else got here first.
Right, keep going then. Finally, you've found your perfect new home. So now, you need to mark your territory by urinating and pooping everywhere to warn other lynxes that this area is taken. You should also make scratch marks on the trees around the border of your territory to let other lynxes know this place belongs to you. Yep, that's the ideal way to decorate your new home. Once you're done, you'll then need to spend every night patrolling to make sure you don't have any uninvited guests. Lynxes are not social animals, so you'd prefer not to have any guests to entertain. So, you might walk up to 6 to 12 miles a night patrolling and hunting, unlike your male counterparts who may have to look after 100 or more square miles of land. So at least you could be grateful for that. Yeah, it's still hard work, but you don't want to lose your territory now that you're set up. And at least you get plenty of fresh air and exercise. So, now more hunting. Hares, foxes, rodents, deer. You have a fully developed adult coat, long black tufts on your ears, and a short tail with black hairs on the end of that too. You have some spots on your legs that help with camouflage. You're about 40 inches in length, about 30 inches tall, and you weigh about 40 pounds. You've even mastered the art of catching deer now, and you hunt them whenever you get the chance. Nice job, you're a proper, fully grown adult lynx. But even for experienced adults like you, being a lynx is not easy. Prey can be scarce, and your habitat is also getting smaller because of human encroachment. But at least you can get revenge for that. And now it's winter again. You're almost 2 years old, and so far, you've done everything that's been asked of you. So now it's time for something new. One problem for Eurasian lynxes is that many of you live in small, isolated populations, so it can be hard to meet other lynxes even when you want to. And at 2 years old, you now want to because it's time to find a boyfriend. Unfortunately, there's no lynx version of Tinder, so you have to rely on more traditional methods for attracting a mate. You start making loud meowing sounds each night that carry far through the forest. And it works like a charm because after a couple of nights of this, a large male turns up looking for a date. He's bigger than you, and he struts in confidently, growling all the time. You rub up against each other with your bodies and heads, and engage in some playful rolling. And then he gets behind you, bites the back of your neck to hold you down, and does what he came to do. Well, it was nice while it lasted. You weren't looking for commitment anyway. You were an independent lady lynx after all. So, now he's gone, and you'll soon need to find a place to start building your own den, because in around 70 days and counting, you'll have a litter of baby lynxes all of your own to look after. And here they are. You've just given birth to 3 adorable lynx kittens. Unfortunately, 3 is more than normal, and it's highly unlikely that all of them will survive. In fact, you'll be lucky if you can get any of them through their first year. But don't worry, even if they all die, you can still try again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Because now you're an adult Eurasian lynx, and this is what the rest of your life is going to look like. You'll raise kids from spring to winter, you'll hunt for them and teach them to hunt, and then they'll leave. And you'll mate again and repeat the process each year until you die. If you don't get eaten by wolves or shot by a hunter, and if you don't get injured or die of starvation because prey gets too scarce, or just die of disease, you might live to 10 years old. And if you're really lucky, you might even live a few years beyond that. But eventually, you will become too old and weak to hunt, and your life as a lynx will come to an end, and it will probably involve you starving and freezing to death in the snow. You won't have enjoyed much of your life because it was hard, cold, and lonely, although there were one or two fleeting moments of tenderness in there too. No, life as a lynx sucks, but you successfully raised a few cubs and lived to a relatively old age, and that's all anyone can ask of you. So you made a pretty good job of it while it lasted.